It's easy to mistake Caitlin Clark's injury for something normal, just another knock in a long season, but the league's biggest star, the one packing arenas and landing massive media deals, has been carrying a much heavier load than most people realize. And worse, she hasn't been protected. From hard fouls to missed calls, the warning signs were all there, and now her body is breaking under the weight.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected.
Caitlin Clark is on her second injury of the season already, and fans are furious, not just because she's hurt, but because it could have been prevented. If this is just the start, how terrible can the end really be? Caitlin Clark's injury crisis started during the game against the New York Liberty on the 25th of May. According to Clark, it happened early in the game, but she only really knew something was wrong after the game due to adrenaline and the heat of the game.
Happened during a game or anything, or is it just something that was lingering that popped up? Or?
It happened in the Liberty game, yeah.
Were you able to pinpoint the time in the Liberty game that happened, or you just?
No, definitely early in the game, but I couldn't tell you the exact play something occurred on, and could have occurred over the course of the game too. And then obviously adrenaline covers up a lot of stuff when you're in the heat of battle. And after the game, I had some pain, and then got an MRI, and that kind of gave me the result that I didn't want to see. But those type of things don't lie. So yeah.
This was not the first time Caitlin Clark got injured in a WNBA game. Last season, during a game against Atlanta, Clark tried to avoid a screen set by Nia Coffey and ended up putting pressure on her left ankle.
This season and having an excellent passing season as well. Her assist numbers, oh no, Caitlin Clark just went down. And holding her left ankle rather.
Caitlin Clark left the court but returned at the beginning of the second quarter as it wasn't so serious. So the injury against the New York Liberty would be the first time that she would miss a regular season game both in her professional and even her college career. But this injury did not just spring out of nowhere. There had been signs leading up to that moment. Hard fouls after hard fouls.
Some rebound against Indiana, something Connecticut did very well in the first quarter of game one. Here's Clark, 3 to shoot. Gonna have to hoist from the logo, an air ball. And
the truth is, this extreme physicality isn't just an Indiana Fever problem, it's a league-wide issue that has spiraled into unchecked chaos, affecting not only Caitlin Clark, but the integrity of the WNBA as a whole. When Stephanie White was asked about Clark's injury, she said,
"With Caitlin, when did you guys find out about this groin injury, and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?"
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it day to day.
But the Fever fans were not buying it and spotted a very worrying pattern. These were her exact words when asked about DeWanna a couple of weeks earlier.
How is she doing? Is there any timeline for her return?
Yeah, she's doing well. She's doing well. Again, no timeline. I think it's day to day, and for us to just make sure that we're continuing to be supportive of DB in her.
Now we know that it was just a cover, and the team was actually working to trade DeWanna during this time. While Clark's case is definitely not a hidden transfer, fans still feel that Coach White is hiding the truth behind Clark's injury. And they may be right. There is definitely something going on. There was little surprise that the Fever struggled in her absence after the first injury against the Liberty, losing their next game against the Washington Mystics 83-77. Caitlin Clark had become such a focal point of the Fever's attack that everyone could tell something was missing in the Mystics game.
Howard collecting the rebound. Boston trying to go backdoor to Mitchell. Crowded by Dolson. Here's Howard now. Baseline jumper. Doesn't go. Area fend the rebound. Right place, right time.
Without Clark, their offensive rating dropped to 87.7 points per 100 possessions, reflecting a less efficient offense, and they recorded 16 turnovers, which led to transition opportunities for the Mystics, including offensive rebounds and additional scores. Clark's absence as the primary playmaker likely contributed to these miscues, as the team struggled with ball handling and decision-making. Things did not get better going into the next game, with the Fever losing 85-83 to the Connecticut Sun right in their yard. They were maybe getting used to Clark's absence and trying to patch the void. Players like DeWanna Bonner did try to step up, scoring 21 points off the bench, and that had Caitlin Clark fired up on the bench.
It's been held to just 6 points here in the fourth quarter. Bonner puts on the brakes. Bullseye!
But a player as big as Caitlin Clark missing? It would take more than 2 games to get the hang of it. Do not think the Indiana Fever were the only victims of Caitlin Clark's injury. The entire WNBA suffered for it as viewership rates dropped by 50% since the Fever 22 assumed a position on the sidelines. We saw a brief return from Caitlin Clark that brought huge relief to the fans, especially with her return game performance, which she hit 32 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds.
Making her second career start, second in a row, and Clark stays red hot.
She completely blew the roof off the Gainbridge Fieldhouse when she scored a mind-blowing 9 points in less than 45 seconds.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark to fire away from 2 players with incredible ball from Cunningham. Clark, another long 3. She's back!
However, the euphoria did not last long for the Indiana Fever fans and the WNBA as Clark got injured again in the game against the Seattle Storm, and this time it looked more worrying than the last.
Boston hands it off as Clark's back in. She goes down. And mid-court and flexing that ankle.
Oh, Lee, this late in the game, you do not want to see anybody getting banged up. She's coming up.
This time around, everyone wants Caitlin to have a longer spell on the sidelines because the injuries all feel connected, and it is on that left ankle. She has not been the same since that altercation in the Connecticut game.
Hustling away.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it.
Fans across social media have pointed out that something seems off with Caitlin Clark lately, saying she's been playing without her usual spark. Whispers quickly turned into rumors, with many speculating that she's been pushing through pain and possibly even playing while injured. As the games went on, her numbers started to reflect that concern. Her signature confidence from deep looked shaken, and the efficiency wasn't there. In the game against the Golden State Valkyries, things hit a low point. She didn't sink a single three-pointer and finished with just 11 points. For a player who once made scoring look effortless, it was a clear sign that something was wrong.
Amihir's come in for her first minutes, guarding Clark. Clark's a floater, off, kept alive, and Hall hits it.
Going back to the Storm game, Caitlin Clark was actually subbed off, and with the Fever up by 8 and 48 seconds left on the clock, Stephanie White put a barely fit Caitlin Clark back on the court, and that is when she got this latest groin injury. The fans were completely livid. Caitlin Clark knows how big of a responsibility she carries in not just the Fever, but the WNBA, and the pressure makes her want to always show up, keep playing, and never wants to sit, even when she isn't fit. It is the job of the coach to protect her player, but Stephanie White failed miserably here. This is not just about missing games. When you play with an injury, your body starts to adjust. You start to unconsciously depend on the stronger leg, and even after recovery, your body mechanism has been altered for good. What truly worries Fever fans, and just about anyone who loves the game, is the fact that we've seen this kind of story before. Superstars who once lit up the court, only to have their careers derailed by injuries they never fully recovered from. It's not just fear talking, it's history repeating itself. A clear example is Juju Watkins and that heartbreaking torn ACL.
Defense from the Trojans, and Watkins goes down hard, and she's grabbing her right knee, quickly grimacing in pain.
Or Cameron Brink, another rising star whose trajectory was suddenly halted by injury.
Thomas gets a paint touch every single possession, and it draws the defense in and allows for open opportunities.
We've discussed Connecticut's balance. 4 of the 5 starters have already made a basket. Brink and Jones were tangled up.
The fear isn't just about losing games. It's about what could happen to Caitlin Clark's long-term future. When she was sent back into the game against the Seattle Storm, already nursing an injury, many fans held their breath, and they still are. Because if anything serious had happened in those unnecessary closing minutes, it wouldn't just be a poor coaching decision, it would have gone down as one of the biggest tactical failures in basketball history. That would have been a career-ending moment and would have dealt big consequences for the WNBA as well. It makes no sense for your most bankable star to take elbows, blind hits, and hard fouls game after game, with little consequence from officials. It means something's broken. And if the league doesn't act fast, they're not just risking Clark's health. They're playing with the trust of every new fan who tuned in to watch her. And it's not just fans who are noticing. Analysts and commentators online are raising serious concerns too. In a recent breakdown, one respected sports YouTuber summed it up perfectly.
Caitlin Clark does push off more, and her defenders know that if you give her even just a little bit of space, she'll pop off, create the tiniest amount of space, and get a shot off. So they cover her very closely and might tend to not call as many fouls as they would call on another player.
What makes this entire situation even more telling is how obvious her value is. When Caitlin Clark returned against the New York Liberty, viewership shot back up like clockwork. The ratings didn't just rise, they surged, reminding everyone that this isn't just any rookie we're talking about. She's the engine of the league's momentum, the face on every billboard, and the reason arenas are selling out across the country. If there was ever any doubt about how vital she is to the WNBA's present and its future, that game erased it. And yet, for someone so crucial to the league's success, the protection she gets on the court continues to fall dangerously short.
How receptive do you believe the WNBA is going to, I'm not talking about the league, but the players within the league are going to be towards Caitlin Clark moving forward now that we've seen what her absence, what kind of impact her absence provides?
What happens if she goes down again? That's the question on every mind. Because this isn't just about missing a few games. It's about the long-term damage that no MRI can fully capture, the kind that lingers quietly, game after game, season after season. Some fans say Clark is too tough to be slowed down. But even the toughest break, and when that happens, the regret isn't just medical, it's historical. Because what the WNBA has in Caitlin Clark isn't just a once-in-a-generation player, it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity.
Clark, the hesitation, working inside the reverse. Owen took a big hit there on Jackie Young, and the foul does come, and for the second time.
And if they lose that by pushing her too hard, by not protecting her from cheap shots, or by failing to listen to the warnings echoing from fans and former players alike, then it won't just be a tragedy for Caitlin Clark. It'll be the greatest unforced error in league history.